And welcome back to Diamond Lanes here in Odessa, Texas. The Odessa Open. Craig Elliott, Tom Carter here on the call in the booth. Mike Flanagan to our left running the show. And I think John Weber kind of covered everything for us as far as the scenario.
We don't have to say anything now.
Yeah, thanks, John.
All these notes I wrote down are kind of useless.
Well, we'll use them later. We also have a new addition to our group here this week. We've got Michael Haugen Jr., our sideline reporter. How you doing down there, Michael?
I'm doing well, Craig. Sorry I'm not as good looking as Kimberly, but I'll do my best to give you some good info.
Oh, wow.
Well, you are working that dress pretty good, though.
Yeah, well, I did shave for you. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You heard John say that the first match, we've got Lennie Boresch Jr. looking for back-to-back titles. He won in Lubbock, the U.S. Open last week, taking on Dan Knowlton. Dan looking for his first title, but he made the show. He was high qualifier here in this building last year. Different pattern, different format, but he's back in the Stepladder.
Yeah, he was last year's tournament leader. Unfortunately, he didn't win on the show, but believe it or not, he's basically throwing the same equipment this year as he did last year.
And the interesting thing is we got to watch down in our last round of matches there in the round of 8 is Dan Knowlton kind of backed into this. You know, he was the 8th seed, but he was the highest non-winning seed left, so he gets the number 5. He got pretty much just trounced by Lennie Boresch, and guess what? He gets to bowl Lennie in the opening match again.
Well, yeah, his benefit was Mark Sullivan was bowling Brad Angelo and had Brad by 50 pins going into the last game, and Brad Angelo come alive and basically shoots 280 at Sullivan and takes that spot away from him and allows Dan to get in.
Yeah, 289 on the end to get in that last match there. So what a run from Brad Angelo. So Walter Ray Williams, the number 1 seed, Brad Angelo, the 2, Tom Hess, 3, and then Lennie and Dan Knowlton. So Angelo looking for his second win this year.
Yeah.
Hess looking for his first this year.
Yeah, Tommy was last year's Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and Brad Angelo, this is his 4th show. And we got the goat on top.
What is it, 4 out of 7?
Yeah. I liked what John said in the opening statements. He said there's 50 PBA titles on this pair, and Walter Ray has 47 of them.
Just greedy. He's looking for another.
He doesn't like to share.
What's he got, 120-some total titles between the national tour, the regional tours, the senior tours?
And if he wins this, I think it gives him 16 PBA50 titles.
Will that be the most?
Yes.
So he's tied with the most right now then, right?
No, he went ahead of John Handegaard.
Oh, so he's just extending.
He's just
lead.
extending his lead, getting more goatness.
More goatness. There's our term of the day, more goatness. Lennie Boresch starting things out. 4-pin, his first shot.
When the guys were practicing, there's a lot of dull, big balls going down the lane. I mean, they were trying to break them down. I think they're trying to take away the urethane look. Dan, I think, is going to be throwing a purple hammer. And Walter, he warmed up and practiced with the same ball that you and I watched him shoot 760 with, that pink hammer.
Does that kind of lead into Tom Hess's playbook then, if they're going to try to take urethane out of everybody's hand and have everybody bump in?
Well, it could. I think that's what Tommy's plan was right off the bat, trying to destroy that shot. But nobody's as far right now as Walter is, at least when he was practicing.
Yeah, interesting point there, guys. With both Walter and Dan using urethane, they're obviously going to stay right and try to shim the ball a little bit, keep the ball in play, hope scores are low. And Tom and Brad will probably be steeper and open the lane up. Lennie's kind of trapped in between. He's not far left as the other two guys, but he's also not as far right as the other players, and he's throwing a strong ball trying to slow it down. So if Lennie's able to strike, he's going to be tough to beat. But
well, he's definitely playing his zone different than everybody else.
Yes, most definitely. He's in between the urethane balls and then the two guys that want to open the lane up. So that'll be interesting how that plays out.
Yeah, he's got a Zen Soul down there pinned up, but he's also got the Gym, which is pinned down, and he has another, the Nova, which is pinned down. So he's got 3 different balls down there he's playing with.
And Walter's going to have to be a very good observer here, as he's standing right behind the championship pairs. He doesn't come on until the finals. Well, so he's going to watch and see what the guys are doing to this pair.
Well, Dan's kind of hooking his urethane ball. He's left of where Walter's going to be. Walter's going to be really right on the outside 1, 2, 3. kind of going up and at him. So this could either help Walter in that title match or it could hurt him. Dan could be creating some hold for him, or he could be taking away his move-in spot by the way where he's playing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Dan is by no means hooking him for Dan, but he has definitely got a little bit more angle than Walter will through the front. And like you said, Tom, if Dan's able to create a look, he could end up giving Walter unlimited hold when he gets to the title match.
Yeah, well, that shot right there, that repeat shot, Dan right on top of 10 and literally not any farther out than 8. I mean, he's playing it pretty straight and 6 boards farther left than what Walter's going to be for sure.
Yeah, is that going to make it back? It does. What's Lennie throwing?
Lennie's kind of in between zones of everybody, I think. I mean, that ball went down 10, but it went out to like 2 down lane. He's throwing that Zen Soul, and so he's actually curving it more than I thought that he would be curving it.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but he is trapped. Like I said, he's not going to be as far left as Tom and Brad, but he's not going to be as far right as the 2 urethane balls. But he does have to get the ball to shape to go around the lane. If he doesn't, he won't carry the corners.
Well, Lennie's got that voodoo roll that I always talk about. He's able to do something with his wrist tricks to get the ball to do things that other people can't, just like that shot right there.
That one wiggled a little bit down lane, but still came off the pattern to make it back in the 1-3 and strike.
Lennie's just has the ability to see the lane, I think, different than all the other players out here.
Watch this ball wiggle right about here.
Yeah, out at 3-4.
And then it just like somebody kicked it.
So you had Dan basically right down 10-8 with urethane. Lennie 10 out to 3-4. So it's going to be interesting to see when Tommy Hess comes in. Where's he going to play? He's going to be farther left for sure.
He'll probably be almost a zone left with his feet than where Lennie is, throwing it to the same place down the lane. And probably using a ball that's more angular to come off the spot to create that look that you're talking about.
And that's not the Dan Knowlton that we saw against Lennie earlier down on 25 and 26. He couldn't buy a strike down there.
You know, I had mentioned that it looked like he was throwing a damn good verge on that game against Lennie, that last game where he shot 269, but he was actually throwing the purple hammer. I said, well, purple shirt, purple ball, I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, this purple hammer gives him a little bit more than the original purple hammer that he was using earlier in the week in qualifying. It's got a little bit more kick to it, a little bit more angle.
And he just hit it with 500 too before he started.
Exactly, and that's just to try to get it to pick up. And like you said, he's not really creating a ton of angle, so he needs the ball to start sooner to get the corners.
Whoa.
You know, that was a powerful strike right there. As much as Dan revs the ball, you'd think he'd like to curve it a little bit more than he does, but he actually plays it pretty straight for a guy who's got good revs on the ball.
Yeah, he's a little bit like Dave Watka. Gets the ball in front of him a lot, but he's got a heavy roll with a lot of revolution, so his ball speed allows him to stay a little more square up. And like you said, you would assume with the rev rate that high, he would open it up more, but he kind of just stays in that spot and lets it just uses ball speed and keeps it on line, and then it just tips in the back, and he's got great carry.
A little hesitation step that Lennie we talked about last week, that power footwork step. So Knowlton starting out with spare 3-bagger, Lennie spare double, and now a 4-pin.
Couple of 4-pins, couple of strikes.
This would be something we would want to look for because of Knowlton throwing the urethane and then Walter throwing the urethane in practice, and Lennie not being as steep as the other guys. He could potentially run into this particular problem, seeing a little early hook and a little hang with a little ball speed. So you guys are right on the call on that. Lennie's in the middle with his voodoo roll, and it's either going to be really good or he's going to be in trouble.
Right.
Well, watching him this week, I got to believe it's going to be really good as long as you start kicking those 4s out.
And the thing about TV finals here, it's only a 1-game match instead of 3 games. You don't have that extra game to figure things out.
Yeah, you don't have time to let it come to you, that's for sure.
No.
All right, Lennie struck the last time on this lane. That's a little bit more inside down lane.
Yeah, that didn't get quite as far to the right down lane. Still playing around 10.
Too.
All right, look at that.
Well, last year when he won, last week when Lennie won the U.S. Open, he had mentioned afterwards that during the show he was tweaking his wrist just to try to keep that ball in the same zone, and because his zone seems to be so much different all the time than anybody else's.
Knowlton, spare four-bagger. He's got to be just feeling like he's kind of on a free roll now after that last match. I mean, he was out of it, and just still sneaks into the show.
We talked about, he's going to make it in the show. He had a guy running down looking to see, what was going on with the Sullivan Angelo match, and it was his time to try stuff, and he experimented and tried a few things with this ball, and I think he found out a trick.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He said he was out of the match, and he's like, do I need to try something, or do I just need to go through the motions and wait for the show? And then by trying this ball, he actually found something he likes, and he's showing it right now.
He's pretty straight with that ball. It's just amazing that with his rev rate, he can get that ball as straight through the front part of the lane and continue through the mid lane. That's over
shot.
10, and it's out to 8 at best. And those 3 beige boards right there on each side of 10, you can see his ball just going straight down that zone right there. We're bowling on HPL. It's a higher friction surface, a 36-foot pattern. And he covers the spare. He had a little spare issues in the previous match.
A little bit, yeah, but so far so good. He's 2 for 2 here in this opening match of the Stepladder final.
Hey guys, I'm down here with Brad Angelo, who elected not to throw any practice shots during the warm-up session for his reasons of his own. He's watching this match now. What do you feel with Lennie and Don? How do you think you're going to have to play these lanes to beat either opponent?
Well, I think Lennie's using a reality, right? A shiny reality.
He's using a Zen Soul, I believe. Or a
Zen Soul,
Master, something
okay.
like that.
I don't know, it looked like it was blue. But anyways, and Dan is using urethane. So, I don't know. I'm just going to go over there with an open mind with my 8 shots and try to get matched up and then see where the chips fall. It's really all you can do.
All right, sounds good. Good luck.
I talked to Brad earlier, and when he was bowling against Sullivan, he said he was using his Spider-Man release. He was just trying to shove the ball down the lane, kind of base of the palm, getting the ball to tumble it so it wouldn't overreact on the back end or in the mid lane, either one.
Few players just missing notables into the top 24 to match play here today. Warren Eels finished in 25th. Chris Warren in 26th. Texas bowler Mike Bailey 27th. Jack Jurek made back-to-back shows in a 27th, 28th place here in Odessa. Great start of the season for Jack. We'll see him for the majority of the rest of the tour. And Lennie up now. That one's about the same spot as last, and the same result, 10 back.
Lennie kind of got on top of where Knowlton's playing, at least in the front part of the lane, just getting it a touch farther right down lane. Instead of 8, he's more like 6-7. So he might be using a little bit of that urethane hold that might be happening.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think when he was throwing it earlier, he was getting it to the right. He was checking up 4-pin, maybe quick, half 10. And I think that he's using the hold and squared up a little bit now. His carry's better, and his ball's going to the pins obviously a lot better.
Dan just blasting on the pocket.
That's not the same guy we saw an hour and a half ago.
Not even close.
All. He's got some confidence now, too. Look, he's got a little pep in his step.
But
look at him posting this shot.
He does something, I guess, maybe this is a bad analogy, but like E.J. Tackett, you watch Dan at the line, he uses his legs to actually get through the ball. Like E.J. Tackett at the foul line raises up with his legs because he's such a small guy. He uses his leg. You watch Dan. He's down low. Then he uses his body at the release point. He's probably a good golfer, too.
Well, he lives in Florida. He probably gets a lot of time to work on that craft as well as bowling. Dan out of Dade City, Florida. Oh, 7-pin. Threw a couple pins at it. None of them touched it to knock it down.
He wasn't quite as solid on that shot. And his thing right now is he can't be getting fast. He's got to breathe, slow the pace down, stay in control.
Yeah, he got quick. I don't have the angle you guys have. Was that ball right at the break point, or was it still at
Yes.
the same point? That's why he didn't carry to 7. He got it right. So throwing urethane, not going to get that hit, but in the same token, he's not really going to get in trouble either.
Well, when you get a little fast too, you know, pick up your speed and kind of take that shape out of the back end. On the spare. He stared that one down. Like I said, the previous match an hour and a half ago, that he was having a little bit of a spare issue. So hopefully he's got that figured out. Now Dan was our number 1 qualifier last year. He led this tournament, but he lost to Amuleto. So he's been here before. He'd probably rather be in the number 1 spot than number 5.
All right, Lennie comes back. When your opponent spares, gives you an opening, you got to throw a strike and get right back in this match. We're pretty much even through 8 here. What have we got? 129 in the 6th, double for Lennie. 169 in the 7th, so Lennie can take a little lead here. And not strike here, he's not going to be able to get shut out. He's going to have a chance to win it in 10th regardless. So Knowlton can shoot 249.
And so can Lennie.
And so can Lennie.
We have the possibility of a tie. You know, I keep thinking, and I keep saying Lennie has that voodoo roll. He needs a jersey with like little voodoo dolls on it because he always seems to just figure out a way.
Little Jimi Hendrix for his entrance music.
Yeah, Lennie's kind of one of those guys. Didn't bowl the regular tour when he was younger. Bowls in the PBA50 tour, obviously full time. And he's had a very good career, and everyone in the Midwest knows who he is. He doesn't get quite as much respect as he should, although after winning the Open last week, he probably got a few more votes there. But that voodoo roll, man, it's something to watch.
Yeah.
He'll make it back and kick the 10. It does both.
It's amazing to watch because he looks like the ball's not going to do nothing, and it shapes up and finishes. You know, and it's kind of funny. You know, Lennie's won the team event at the USBCs, and back when, you know, the team event got real ugly and you always had to get into 5th and 6th arrow, Lennie could play in there. You know, just because you see him playing out to the right doesn't mean that he can't play other part of the lanes. He's got magic in his hand.
Well, Knowlton up here, he cannot shut Lennie out. They do have the possibility of a tie, but Lennie will have a chance to, at minimum, tie whatever Dan does here in the 9th and 10th frame.
Looked like a great shot there from Dan. He took his time, just really posted that one. So
look how this just rolls off his hand. Nice roll. Doesn't grab it.
Cupped up wrist, it's kind of open-handed. You don't see his fingers really snap through it. He just rolls it off his wrist, like you said, which helps you not make it hook early. You start grabbing it, you start making it hook way too soon. Then you start yanking it left. Bad juju.
Knowing to keep the pressure on Lennie. Got it. Michael, do we have an idea what Tom Hess's game plan is going to be?
Well, I was going to do that, but this match was so good, I was letting you guys roll with it, but I'll get in his ear right now. So
Got a little time.
I'm sitting here with Tom, and Tom, you're watching this match. Obviously, you have the next match. I don't think you're going to throw it like Dan here in the urethane, and you're probably going to be a little steeper than Lennie. What is your game plan?
Right now, my game plan is to go out with the X2 that I threw yesterday and try to get left of everybody and play to my uniqueness, something that I can do a little bit better than these guys. And also got the gem just in case I can move over right and throw a little bit harder than everybody else. So I got a couple options.
Okay, so when you say you're going to move left and get to the spot, are you going to get to the break point quicker than them and create more angle, or are you just going to try to roll it around?
I'm going to try to. I'm going to move left, and I'm going to throw it right at the friction. Probably going to be a little bit further down lane than those guys when I hit it, but I'm going to try to create more shape, definitely.
All right. Well, good luck to you, Tom.
Thank you, Mike.
That shot from Knowlton looked just a touch inside a target, and the ball didn't finish hard enough to kick that 10 out.
Yeah, so possible. He's going to pick this up. I'm knocking on wood here. That gives him 238. Lennie Boresch has a chance to take this match on to the next one.
Interesting that from Tom Hess there that we saw him throw that X2 a lot yesterday. He didn't throw it too much today, a little bit, but he was in that gem a lot.
When he was over here practicing, he had some serious surface going on a gem. And I think he was trying to burn a spot that he could bounce that gem off of, or that X2 off of, and create a much steeper angle than everybody else is playing. He's actually going to be in a whole different light year than everybody else as far as his zone. He's going to be farther left.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is exactly right. He wants to be further left, and he wants to have the most bounce room than anybody, and he's the guy that could do it. So,
well, if you can get away from everybody else's track, you might get away from a lot of over.
Gotta have this one.
And then he gets the first one.
Strike to win, 9 spread at tie. Right? 59.
now Lennie did choose to finish on this lane. He was the higher seed, correct? And he did choose to finish on the right lane. Most time players choose to finish first. Lennie chose to finish on the right lane for a reason. Let's see if this double is the reason why he did it.
Yeah, he needs this double to win. And Tommy, when he came over, he wanted to take away the straight player's hold, and he's trying to burn that up. And he was using some sandpaper.
Yeah, we thought it was charcoal at first. we saw the sparks flying.
Snowballs. Lennie,
Strike to
for
win.
the day. He needs the strike to win. Skin to win, and he did it again.
So, Tom, the players between matches, right? So are Brad and Walter going to get a couple of shots during this little intermission before the next match starts? How does that work?
I think they get in the next match.
They get him in.
Okay.
I mean,
Tommy comes over and gets 8 shots.
And it can be any variation. You could take all 8 on one lane if you wanted.
Any variation.
Yeah, it can be any lane, strikes or spares, whatever you feel like shooting. And Hess will get the shots now. After this next match, both Walter and Brad will get shots. And then obviously Walter gets shots when he comes in for his title match.
Lennie Boresch Jr. is for back-to-back wins, still alive. Tom Hess going to go on board shortly.
Well, Tom Hess got there today. He had a bye the first round. John Delaney beat Ricky Stischler. So he got to take on Tom Hess. Hess beat Delaney, and then Hess beat Michael Haggett in the round of 8 to get this number 3 seed here today. And Hess has made quite a few. So what's this, his 5th show this year?
Is it his 5th?
4th or 5th for him as well?
It could be. I don't have that stat. But I got to say it's at least 4.
He finished 2nd in Sterling, Virginia. Yeah, it's at least 4.
Well, Brad's got
for
4,
Tom.
and if Hess has got 4, so you're going to get to see 2 of the guys that made a ton of shows.
Well, and these are the 2 guys that really had some of the best season last year as well. Brad got the wins. Tom got the wins at the end of the season, the Rookie of the Year, the Player of the Year, and now they go against each other again here in Odessa.
Well, that'll be interesting once Tommy. I wonder if he's going to try. You always got to think about this as a ball rep and a player. Is he going to try to burn up even more of that spot to create a bigger position, or is he just going to try to shape it now? With that RX to just see what he's got.
Yeah, I thought he tried to burn a little up. It looks like he's just grabbing the X2 and getting some shots in.
Yep.
Hey guys, I'm here with Dan after this match. He just bowled a tough match. Had a chance to keep the destiny sort of in your own hands. If you strike out in the 10th, force him to strike out in the 10th. First one you threw in the 10th looked pretty good. What happened on that second one?
That lane was just a little tighter, and I just tried to scoot up and slow my feet down to get the ball to slow down, and I just didn't do a good enough job of that. That happened. I think I've missed 3 times on the left lane.
Yeah.
And I knew that lane was a little tighter, but I got away with a couple. I mean, first couple shots were fine, but then it got a little tighter, and I just needed to slow down. I didn't really want to move my feet right. The angles were good, so didn't work out.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you bowled Lennie in the round of 8 before this show to get to the show, and obviously it was a pretty different outcome, but looked like you found something there the last game of that match, and you used it in the TV show here and almost got through it. So all in all, you made the show here last year, and then you're back and threw the ball pretty good, and like you said, maybe just a little quick, and you whatever, but you have to be happy with how it went down.
Yeah, I'd had a rough stretch there in the middle. I missed a couple cuts in a row, and confidence was a little shaken. So this was good to get some confidence back.
All right,
So,
well,
Michael, so Dan's made the show here back-to-back years. Is he starting to look at real estate in Odessa, maybe move to the West Texas?
He's already got a locker.
they want to know if you're looking at property out here since you make the show every year. Maybe.
Well, it's becoming my favorite bowling center, that's for sure. I tend to bowl good here, so I've been able to throw urethane. Both years have been short pattern, and I like to throw urethane now. But
Yeah, they were commenting on how you throw it so straight with the urethane, even though you're a high rep player. Is there any secret to that, or is that just kind of the way it works for you?
I try to get it rolling end over end as much as I can, and then just keep it in front of me. So, I really don't like to shape the urethane, so whatever I can do to make it go as straight as I can, that's kind of my A game there.
Yeah, well, it obviously worked for you. You had a great week. One hit away from potentially bowling this next match, and I know it's not the way you wanted it to end, but it was impressive to watch. Good bowling this week.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mike. Brad Angelo got here today by defeating Mark Sullivan in the round of 8, John Marcella in the round of 16. And Marcella took out a pretty good player not a lot of guys know about in the ladies fans out there, Steve Smith. Steve Smith qualified 20th, and hope we see a lot more Steve out here. He's a guy that can easily win almost every week he shows up on this tour.
Well, Steve was a Team USA player.
Yeah, a very accomplished player. Just he's just not a household name, but there's the players know who he is. There's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he's not going to sneak up anybody out here, but he's a guy that I would expect to really have a breakthrough at some point.
Well, that's pretty much what you need. Obviously, you need a good week and catch a couple breaks, and once you get that monkey off your back, then things start to develop for you. You know that you can win. You get that mindset that you're going to be in the finals every week, or you're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And you got to have that kind of confidence. Some people call it cocky, but if you don't walk in there with some kind of confidence that you can win, you're just throwing 16 games.
Right. And we got to feel bad for Mark Sullivan, man. He bowled solid all week, and just couldn't put it away at the end there. But Brad Angelo just took it from him. It's not like he gave it to him. Brad just stepped up, shot 289, and took it from him that last game and said, nice week, Mark, but I'm going to finish bowling today if you don't mind. So we're going to see more. That's back-to-back weeks for Sullivan, throwing the ball pretty darn good right now.
Well, Sullivan's finished, I think, 6th twice. He just missed a couple shows. He's just right on that cusp of getting there, and it's just one good break for that kid, and I think you're going to see wonderful things.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about Sullivan. So earlier in the year he was bowling and things weren't really going well for him. He says, I'm going home, Mike. I'm going to go home and work on some things, and I'll be back out when I'm ready. And he took 1 week off, and he came back out, and all of a sudden he's right back in the hunt for the show again. So whatever it was he worked on, he figured it out pretty quickly.
Now, did you guys see what Hess just did right there? He grabbed that gem move right and just chucked it right up the Walter Ray line.
I've seen 2 shots. That's kind of looking over at Mike, but I've seen 2 shots where he had moved right with a big ball instead of actually looping it. He had that RST, and he was left, but that break point was kind of wiggly. It looked like when he was warming up. He took that gem and moved right, so he might have a whole different game plan going into this game now.
Yes, he just walked over to me. He said, Jim, he's going to move right. He's going to throw the gem. He's probably going to be close to where Lennie is playing. He might try to move Lennie off his spot and get Lennie out of his game plan. And then as the matches go on, he'll get steeper and go to the RS2.
So, Mike, do you call this defense or offense, when they try to do this? How do you look at it?
Well, I mean, you could argue it's both, but I think for Tom right now, it's more offense. I think he's just trying to strike, and that's what he feels like he has the best look with.
So we got the 2 guys bowling together that are roommates. So how does that work?
Well, they roomed together last week. Lennie won, so now they're rooming together again this week. And is it Tom's turn? Is that fair?
I don't know
what it should be, or is Lennie just going to say,
come
and get me?
What are you talking about? I'm going to kick your butt this week? I mean, we're both on the show.
I think this means if Lennie wins again, that Tom is just his chauffeur for the rest of the tour. Until Tom wins a title. I mean, that's right. There's got to be, there's always some different roommate rules, right? Inside wagers. And, who buys dinner, who pays for the room, who has to drive. Right now, probably who has to pay for gas would be the
So,
a nice
so
one.
in this case, the loser pays for everything. Winner doesn't have to pay for anything.
Well, I think the winner gets to kind of set the stakes, right? Just gets a free chauffeur for a while. And Tom with the move right, and that's as hard as he's thrown it all week long.
And that ball was airborne.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely airborne off of his hand. It looked like he hit up on that. That ball went up in the air onto the lane.
With this kind of speed, he's going to bring those 2.8, 2.8 into play. And
He's looking over there to the right. Like, did he see something? He
nobody
pointed
over there.
I don't know if he heard something to the right or if he's telling himself he has to get the ball
Yeah,
to the right.
I think it's that.
It's one of those two. But his idea with this ball is definitely more speed. You might see a little more loft than you've seen him throw it. I think that was a little excessive that time, but he's definitely going to try to take the lane out of play. He doesn't feel like he can shape it like he was going to do with the RS1 or RS2.
Well, in order to shape it with that ball, I think there had to be more lane play than what we've seen so far. Just the amount of balls going down the lane haven't been enough to where, like what him and Chris Barnes and Chris Warren and some of the guys were doing, they were left and shaping that ball, but there was a lot more lane play going on.
Yeah, I mean, another game of urethane going down the right side might be beneficial for Tom to do what he's trying to do there. But right now, I think he's just going to have to be extremely precise.
The other thing, too, you were talking about the urethane. The urethane might be the reason why he's not trying to go around it. Because like you said, Tom said there's not enough play to make that spot develop the way they wanted it to.
He bumped in on that one, though, and did shape it a little bit.
He got the ball down a little earlier, and he's actually getting it from our angle. It looks at like 6 to 7 feet out on the lane. I mean, he's playing it into the lane better than that first shot. I could think if you hit up on it on this pattern, you're going to create some early hook. It's going to want to read, and there's not that much volume really, in the surface hooks anyway.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, you don't want the ball reading early. You want the ball to push and blend, and that's the idea behind throwing the big ball, playing the way he's playing it. So if he grabs up on it, he's going to magnify his mistakes instead of help his mistakes.
Well, in the previous match, this pair was a little tricky anyway. We watched Dino Castile and Michael Haggett on this pair, and it was like a slugfest. Nobody, obviously they wanted to win, but it's like, here, you want it? No, you want it. No, you want it. And I think this is a tough pair anyway.
Yeah, they made 180s look good in that match a few hours ago. It's got to go a long ways.
So both guys having a little trouble with the 10 pins in the opening match. Tommy's first shot just never got it right. Second shot looked pretty good, but pinged to 10 and he had a messenger, but that was one thing you didn't see a lot of. At least I didn't. I think we talked about it earlier. I didn't see a lot of messengers come across and slap 10s out. They kind of rolled across and hit a 10 maybe, but nothing ever happened.
Yeah, I felt like Walters had the most messengers today.
Yeah, Mike and I were talking about that earlier. The messenger does roll across the lane, but it seems to stay in front of the 10 pin instead of hitting it. It's got the wrong number this week.
Wrong address for the messenger. Our next stop is 12 hours north in Greeley, Colorado. The first time we've been to Greeley.
Yeah, first trip up to northern Colorado, well, north of Denver, a little over an hour.
Yeah, so 30 degrees cooler up there than here.
It'd be beautiful. Another 10 pin for Lennie. He liked that one too. He kind of walked it out a few boards to the right or a few feet to the right and kind of pulled the string a little bit and still another 10 pin.
So he's still throwing the Zen Soul, and that's a pin up. And it looks like it's got a little bit of polish to it. I mean, it's a little maybe lane shine. And he's got 2 pin down balls. So what do you think, Mike? Does he try to shape it more with a pin down ball, or does he stay with that Zen?
Well, I think first of all, both players are seeing the urethane effect, and that's the reason why the 10 pins are showing up. To answer your question, I think what Tom Hess does dictates what Lennie does here. If Tom doesn't start striking, Lennie's going to stay with the ball he's using. He's just going to manage the pocket and beat him. If Tom starts throwing a double or a 3 or 4 bagger, Lennie might be forced to change to the pin down and try to get that ball to start up a little bit sooner.
I agree. I think, but if Tommy keeps pinging here, there's a possibility. I mean, he's already throwing it hard, but maybe he might go, I'll move in with that RST and see if I got to create something. And again, with only a few frames, you got to do something.
You got a bigger handful of that one.
Yeah, he sent that farther to right down lane at about 40 feet. He got it out to like 3-4.
And Brad Angelo standing right behind this pair, watching what these guys are doing, trying to get a game plan for the semifinal match.
Tommy's just a big, strong guy. I mean, he can power that ball down the lane. It's just. And what is Tommy? 53, 2? He's not that old.
Well, that's the second year. Was there an off year, a COVID year that he didn't get to bowl? So maybe 50, could be probably 52, maybe at the oldest.
See, that ball had a little more airtime to it out on the lane. It just doesn't seem like when he gets it that far out, which was farther out than the last time on this lane, the ball wants to pick up.
Yeah, when we were talking to Dan, he said that he thought the left lane was a little bit tighter, and hence the reason when he missed 3 times on that lane. So if that is indeed true, that's tighter, then you put the urethane on top of it, it bodes well with Tom's ball speed that he's going to leave a 10-pin here and there.
Yeah, and it looked like he tried to grab a little bit more of that to make it turn the corner and getting it farther out on the lane. I don't know if that's the right answer. Maybe you need to get it down a little quicker so it picks up.
Well, I think watching so far through 4 frames from Tom, he's just going to go full bore at it, full speed, full revs, everything. Just get him at full, get the levers, watch his knee bend, and he's hitting the pocket. It's just a matter of how the ball's going through the pins.
Yeah, you guys asked if he was going to play offense or defense. It looks like it's all offense.
Close up here, zooming in on Lennie Boresch, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Leaping Lennie. That ball mixer and just a weak 10.
Yeah, that ball never really wanted to shape on the back end. It just looked like at the break point he got out there, 3-4, 4-5, that it just lost gas.
Labored, right? Or labored is kind of the term we use there. Just didn't really do a whole lot of anything.
Well, Tom, you do this ball repping thing for a living. If you were his ball rep, what would you tell him to do right now?
Well, what I see and what they want to do, you're a bowler. What I see, it might not be what you feel. I really think Lennie could move a little bit right and shape that a little bit better. And just use that, what I think Walter's going to use, because nobody's as far right as Walter's going to play yet. So I think there's more out there if they just move a little bit to the right. And Lennie's got the ability to go straight enough through the front. And if, even though a rep might tell you something, if you don't think that's going to happen in your mind, you're not going to execute the shot anyway.
Well, it's kind of like a caddy, right? Do you like the 9 iron here? No. Okay, then don't throw it. Then don't hit it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Just kind of reaffirm what's in their head. But I think I'm with you. I think Lennie moved a little bit right because he doesn't need to out-hook Tom, and that's not his game.
It's not a hook contest for him.
He's going to come back and have a conversation with a couple of his teammates here. And just, hey, what are you seeing? This is what I'm seeing. Are we on the same page here? Or
Well, Lennie's got 78 in the fourth with a strike up. And if Tommy strikes, he'll have 79 in the fourth.
Yeah, Tom's not running away with it by any means. So there's a good opportunity for Lennie to capitalize on that strike in the fifth and put a 3-bagger on the board. I mean, it could be the first guy, as Jerry Johnson says in the chat, maybe the first double is the guy that wins the match. I looked a little more in control overall, and another 10-pin.
It looked like he tried to get it out to where he struck last time on that lane, but the ball just isn't doing what I think he thinks it's supposed to be doing. It just looks like to me he's trying to force it, power it too much, maybe. He's not just being as fluid as he could be.
Yeah, and do you think that's caused to the early friction and the urethane going down the lane and the ball's burning up, or do you think they just need to create a little more angle to make the ball return more?
Well, he tried the more angle, and the ball looked like it just didn't work. But when the guys, is it defense or offense? When they're practicing and throwing big balls, sanded stuff, and the ball hits the lane in the front part of the lane, right? It's going to soak up oil first. So you could create early hook and less power on the back end. So I think sometimes throwing big balls are actually tearing up the lane the wrong way instead of making a good shot.
And Tom is making a ball change here, going to the X2. So re-rack, buy himself a little bit of time, think about what he wants to do, commit to this shot.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to ask you guys if is this the time he steps in and starts to shape it. And you are 100% correct. He is going to the R2, the purple ball. He is probably going to jump left, throw it to the right, and have it pick up and bounce off, and let's see if he can get it through the pins correctly.
Well, you know the RS2 is going to get cleaner through the front part of the lane, it being a pearl.
Yeah, the question is this light? Does it go high, or is it just dead flush? This ball could do 3 different things. Threw a little bit slower. There you go.
That was a good look right there.
That's knowing your equipment and exactly what to do with them.
Yeah, well, he definitely moved into where there's going to be more oil to help push that ball down the lane. Now, the key is getting it right to the right spot down lane so it recovers.
So that's probably 6 or 7 left at the arrows. Same spot down lane. Pretty close. That box, right? Where's that box been this week?
Well, and you've seen some guys in previous matches got it farther right than that, and what it did was just duck hook off of it and went through the face, or it just burned up immediately and they hit the 3-6 in the face.
It looked like that one just kind of set up just a little bit sooner and never gave the pocket away here.
It looks like he moved a little bit right with his feet, at least in the front part of the lane, to give that ball a little more shape in the back.
Yeah, I think he did exactly what you said. You said that he needed to move right and use the part of the lane that no one was using yet. He definitely has done that. Looks like he's firmed up his ball speed a little bit, closed his angles down, and now that ball's picking up the mids and it's going to the pins immensely better.
Well, if both of these guys get on a strike fest, this could be a fun game to watch the rest of the way out.
Well, Lennie got the first double. Did you get the first 3-bagger as well?
And that would be a yes.
So a 10-pin lead for Lennie Boresch.
There's that voodoo roll. He figures out how to get it straighter through the front and make it recover.
Well, and I think the key to that is Lennie doesn't have to use speed to get the ball down lane on this shorter pattern. He's got that roll that the ball just gets there naturally.
I think he's got so many wrist tricks. He knows how to just manipulate his wrist, and we can't see it from here, but he shapes it a little bit different in his hand, and it creates a little bit different roll.
Yeah, and Tom relies on more speed to get it down lane at times, and that could always cause a little bit of trouble.
Steve,
another 10-pin.
Yeah, see, Tommy's a big, strong power player, and his strength is curving it if he can do it. I think, he can play straighter, but I think in his thought process, if I can curve it and create a hook spot, I can do something that nobody else on the show is going to do.
100%. Yep, he'll create a little bit of area, a little room for mistake, and everybody needs some room somewhere on the lane, whether it's up front, in the middle, down, back. You need some room somewhere.
Yeah, and unfortunately, nobody's hitting dimes down lane.
Uh-oh.
You uh-oh'd, why?
He scared me a little bit there. I couldn't see around him, but it looked left off his hand, and he was kind of staring at it. Usually Tom will just throw at it and turn around when he makes his spares. He's not ever concerned because he's, it's pretty hard and straight.
I don't think the stare was for him missing it. The stare was, why didn't that 10-pin go down the shot before?
Good point.
You have a little stink eye, did he?
Yeah. I think he said a few words to it as he let go of the ball. It's a good
no pleasantries?
Yeah, I don't think it's a good thing he's not mic'd. Tommy right around 14, 15 at the arrows, and that got out. See, that was where I said if it got out too far, it's going to quit, and he got that clear out to like 2 down lane, and the ball just stopped on him. Never made done.
That didn't look good off his hand. The ball just kind of squirted right. It had nothing on it.
Well, I think he knows he's in trouble because Lennie's figured out the right lane, and if Lennie can figure out the right lane, which he liked, and it's gotten tighter, then things are going to happen.
Just wonder how much of that was trying not to throw too hard, and he just kind of quit on it at the bottom of the swing.
He picked up the 2-8, but I think that spare was almost impossible this week. Either the ball hooked by it or never got to it. Tommy's he's changing Arsenal's total. He took that RST off the rack, something else off the rack.
He's taking both his balls off the rack. He's probably just going to finish up with a gem, resign himself to finishing 4th this week and just moving on.
Well, there's three frames left. I mean, anything can happen, right?
Well, he has 2:16 left. You know, Lenny's, you know, pacing 2 teens as well. So he's got to keep knocking pins down. The math is there. The probability,
Yeah.
it's a different story.
You're not mathematically shut out yet, but it's getting closer.
I think you said they're roommates.
Yeah.
Tom knows what Lenny's capable of. We've all seen what Lenny's capable of. And I think Tom felt that last shot when he didn't strike, the match was over.
How long do you think it'll take Tom to show up at the hotel? He might be walking around the parking lot for a while.
Well, Tom is driving, so you know, if Lenny wants a ride, yeah, you might have to be nice to him right now. Boy, last week we couldn't believe it had been 4 years since Lenny won. Now he's got a chance to go back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, he's got a possibility to shoot 258 this game. And I think that was game, set, match. It is Lennie Boresch moving on to bowl Brad Angelo.
And it looks like Lenny created a little bit of area on that shot, too. He curved that one a little more than his earlier shots.
Well, I think he moved right into that unused friction and fresh surface. So if he can get the ball to rev a little bit better in the front part of the lane, going down the lane, when it hits that hook spot, you're going to see more motion. And I think where guys are playing right now, that front and mid part of the lane, since they use big balls in practice, they've kind of scorched it.
Over under 23 mile an hour. Oh, he
Oh.
got slow in this one.
And Tommy's just going through the motions now. I think he's going to want a dinner out of Lenny.
It's frustrating. You know, he's been bowling good all year. Just hasn't been able to get the W. He's made, you know, this is the 3rd show now out of 7, so almost half the shows. You know, did bowl for the title in Virginia. It'd be interesting to see. So Tom had a definite game plan coming in. Brad's just I'm going to wait and see.
Well,
Maybe that's the approach. I mean, was Tom over-prepared?
Well, you know, there could have been over a thought process. He wants to win again. He had a great year last year, you know, and he's actually having a great year this year. He just hasn't won. And for a guy that is intense as Tom Hess is and not winning, I think that gets to him. It just makes him so fired up that I think sometimes he just needs to breathe and, you know, take a moment and it'll be all right. I mean, 99% of us out here would love to be in his position every week because if he's not on the show, he's close to it.
Yeah, a lot of guys wouldn't mind being on 3 shows already without a win.
Oh,
but
my God.
It's different. Tom knows where he's at. He knows where he is on this tour. Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year last year. He wants to validate that with another W or two before the season's over.
Well, Lenny climbing the ladder, and he's obviously hot, and he just won the U.S. Open last week in Lubbock. And now he's got to bowl Brad Angelo, who's, you know, he's been on 4 shows this year, so it's not like he doesn't have a hot hand himself. He just missed. He had a rough week last week. But other than that, Brad's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, and as of right now, Brad is still undecided how he wants to play these lanes. I asked him if he was going to hook it or go straight, and he's like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So,
well, I think he's going to use some of that Bowl U technology that he's got, and you know, you let your ball be your guide. You know,
yeah.
The lanes tell you what the ball's doing, and the pins. The ball tells you what the lane's doing, and the pins tell you what the ball's doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been around long enough. Like you said, he's bowling well enough. He'll get his 6 or 8 practice shots, and he'll make a good decision. I mean, you can't ignore what Lenny just did to the lanes, using some of that urethane hold, and I'm assuming that Brad will do something similar to that.
Well, you would think Brad can play. He can hook it and he can play straight, so he's very versatile in his game, and we're pretty sure we know what Walter's going to do. He's going to go right, but there's a possibility because in qualifying he did use a reactive ball.
I think a key to this match, let's watch and see. Well, Walter gets a few shots as well, but let's see what Brad does in his 8 practice shots, because you talked offense or defense earlier. Brad is very smart in lane play and how to get him broken down for himself and maybe not help his opponent. So there could be a little bit of both here. It'd be interesting to see his practice shots. What do you throw with the HB intensity? I think that last match for his 289. Has he got 2 of them out there here now?
Looks like he's got the Badger intensity, and I believe he brought an IQ tour out. He said he hasn't used it much, but I believe he brought that out. And, you know, I don't think he's going to hook it as much as we thought he would, unless, you know, he's on a gym right now. And if that shapes the way he wants, you might see him do it. But he's probably just going to go up the lane like he did earlier. He's had so much success doing that.
Well, if he gets on top of Lennie with that gym, he could create a little problems for Lennie, creating a little bit early hook. Walter, he's practicing with an Evo Pearl, so a big reactive Pearl ball. And when he was over there for his warm-up shots, he threw nothing but the pink hammer. So maybe he's seen something different than what he would like to do.
When he was warming up on the practice pairs over here, he was throwing that Quantum Evo quite a bit. Got in off the gutter, got in more around 9, 10, 11, and he was striking quite a bit. So, I mean, he's definitely going to give that a look. And he also brought a Stealth down there, it looks like, as well, with a little bit of surface on it, in case he feels like this Evo's not enough. But I would be surprised if, when he gets his next set of practice balls, if you don't see that pink ball go down the lane at least once or twice.
I would think it would, and I agree wholeheartedly. Because, well, that shot there didn't look like it wanted to finish as well. Brad, look right now in his practice shots, looks like he's right on top of Lennie.
And as the intensity now, it's like, ooh, that one really peeled.
Yeah, that was way stronger than the gym.
Hey, guys, here with Tom Hess. Tom, tough match. Looked like you had a game plan and went away from that game plan and tried something and it just didn't quite work out for you.
No, I had both game plans. I went over there with an open mind. I thought the purple ball being left was a little too touchy. I was going to have to be too good with it. So I decided to go with the ball that got me there because it still looked okay. First one, I just didn't get it there. I had to get it to the spot. Every other one was good. Pins didn't think so. That happens.
Right. Now, Mike told me earlier that you have 3 gems drilled differently with slightly different surfaces. And I know that you used one, and then in the middle of the game you switched to the R2 ball and tried to open the lane up.
Right.
In hindsight, would you have wished you would have tried another one of those other gems, or would it have mattered?
Well, obviously, I don't think it matters. I mean, he had one on the left lane that, you know, was a ways in, and I mean, I'm lacing the pocket and only getting 9. So it is what it is. In hindsight, I think, you know, maybe trying to make sure I got it a little bit further. I mean, when the one in the third didn't strike, the one in the third was aced.
Yeah, pretty good.
Nobody's thrown a shot that good the rest of the tournament. That shot was really good. I was on balance. I did everything I wanted. It got 9. Now you got a strike, and then I went over there and I left it again, and so I made the ball change and threw it really good. Ran him over. Went over, threw it really good again. 10 pin, decided to stand. It's bowling, you know. I mean, it's bowling. Sometimes they fall, sometimes they don't. This time they didn't, and I'm not happy about it. But
I understand.
But you know, we'll go make a drive and we'll go see what happens in Greeley.
Well, you're having a great year so far.
Yeah.
I mean, you bowled for the title once, made a couple shows.
Twice. Come on,
Twice.
Michael.
Sorry, buddy.
I bowled for the title twice.
And you know, you're obviously making some shows and you're throwing it well, and it didn't go your way this week, but maybe next week.
Yeah. Give me 20 minutes.
Yep.
20 minutes, I'll be smiling. Right now, I'm not smiling so much.
All right, great week, Tom.
Thank you, Michael. You too.
You got to appreciate the honesty, and it's got to be tough to be up here now and talk a little bit after that last match where, you know, we said here, it looks like he's making some pretty good shots, and obviously he agreed with us and made some really good shots, and that's bowling. Right?
It's bowling. You know, you can label the pocket every shot, and that doesn't mean you're going to strike. You know, entry angle is the key to the game, and the ball slowing down at the right point and going through the pins. And when that doesn't happen, it looks good 60 feet away, but something doesn't look good down there. Kind of like that practice shot that Brad just threw. He hit the pocket in 7-10.
Well, remember, was it 4 or 5 years ago, Ryan Seminelli was at U.S. Open when off his hand he says, I aced it. We go back and look at the replay. The speed was, I mean, to the 10th, but he missed by a quarter board and bucketed. right? So it doesn't take much, right? I
Right.
mean, you can throw them fantastic, and they're not always going to strike, and it's frustrating.
Oh, it is, and then it gets into your head that you thought you made a good shot, so now you're thinking about what kind of moves you're going to have to make, and maybe you don't need to make a move. You could throw yourself right into trouble.
Hey guys, I'm here sitting next to Walter Ray Williams Jr., tournament leader. And obviously you practiced before we started bowling, and then you got a couple practice shots here before the semifinal match. What do you see difference in the lanes right now?
Well, when I was practicing earlier, I had the left lane really tight using my urethane ball. And so I tried 2 different reactive balls, and the one that I thought would hook a lot, when I threw it on the right lane, barely hooked, and when I threw it on the left lane, hooked all over the place. So I'm a little confused.
Well, you've won 47 times on the national tour and 15 times on this tour. I'm sure you won't be confused for very long.
Well, I better not be.
All right, Walter, good luck to you.
Yeah, he's not going to stay confused for long.
Yeah, you really don't get 120 titles by being lost.
No.
No, it's definitely not an accident. I mean, he's being humble, but we all know he'll be ready to go come game time.
So I'll be curious to see if Brad uses what he called his Spider-Man release to shove the ball down the lane to keep it in play. But in practice, that gem that he was throwing started just kind of laboring at the back end.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what ball he has his thumb grip in right now.
Yeah, that hooked up a little early. Leaving the 3-6-10. I mean, you're coming in after the break. You might throw the first one a little slow, a little stiff, even though he did went over to lane 17 through some practice shots. But still, first game of the match, you're assuming that the pair might be the same. You're hoping anyway.
So do you credit that to being maybe not throwing enough warm-up shots, or do you credit that to Brad throwing the dough ball on top of where he was playing?
I'm going to say Brad throwing the dough ball on top of where he was playing, and he just missed the 3-6-10. And there's about 2 ways to pick that up and 900 ways to miss it.
Yeah, unforced error. I mean, Lennie knows he's got to make those. It is first frame. I guess if you want to do it, that's be the best time. So before you start throwing a string of strikes. And what is that for Brad now?
He's throwing the R2, and I don't know if he's going to use a little angle or if he's going to just try to play on top of where he was playing with this ball. So we'll find out in about 2 seconds.
He did the Tommy Hess thing. He moved left and tried to open up the lane. And I am really surprised that he didn't move extremely right and see what was up literally 4-5. Just get way right and be straight with it through the front. Just give it a shot. I didn't see one ball go down that way.
Well, like Tom said, when he gets left and trying to shape it like that, you just got to be so perfect. And right now, this pattern just isn't giving these guys any room trying to shape it right now. Not saying it won't after another game.
Well,
and we're even.
Yeah, after 9, one frame, we're all even. 9. So at this point, I mean, you only got a couple of frames in. I mean, but you got to be thinking, did I make the right move? You know, is it right going left, or do I shouldn't go back right?
Well, and you heard Walter say that he said left lane hooked way more than the right, and Brad went high on the right lane.
Yeah, he's crossing like 14
Yeah,
out. That was
much farther.
He got
outside.
that way out to 2, and when Tommy did that, it was 2-8-10. So
Yeah,
I don't.
Tom's just a little faster than that one. That one just never had a chance.
I
to
don't
come
think
back.
that's the right move going left, at all. I mean, this pair is not easy, and really this week wasn't easy. It's been a low-scoring week compared to some of the weeks we've had. It took plus 112 to make the cut. That's a 207 average, and that's, you know, you would think on a short pattern, because normally short patterns are our highest scoring patterns that we, you know, on left and right. Doesn't make any difference which hand you throw it with or how you throw it. It's a high-scoring pattern, and for some reason, this pattern could eat your lunch.
Yeah, pair to pair, we saw a lot of challenges. We saw some really good games, and then, you know,
it was real easy to shoot 170. You could go strike, spare, have a 2-8-10, and spare the rest of the way out, and you went 170. You go, thank you very much.
Yeah, Yeah, now interesting there on the 2-pin that Brad left, he did throw the gem for the spare. I think you're probably going to see him switch to that in the next frame.
Or you could do the Michael Hogan, shoot 279 last game to be last man in the field.
There you go. Yeah, but Michael has the ability to get way right and really take his hand out of it and shape it to the back end instead of trying to open up the lane. He can close down his angles and get right on top of it. And kind of I'm thinking that's what needs to happen right here, because that's something that nobody's doing.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I want to be bowling now instead of talking, because I do like my chances, but unfortunately I'm the one talking about it instead of doing it.
Well, and Walter's got to be looking at shops right now, seeing how these lanes are playing, knowing that straighter is greater here as we get into frame 3 of the semifinal match here in Odessa.
Lennie kind of back to a little firmer speed there, but he looked like he was like 11-12 at the arrows. He might have moved a little bit left, but still down at the same break point.
Yeah, I'm going to chalk that first frame up to just being a bad shot. I think the lane is probably picking up a touch more, but I think he just threw it bad, and just plain and simple, just a bad shot, and he's back on track now.
Well, I said 11-12, but after that replay, I take that back. How about 9-10?
Yeah, I think it was just a bad shot.
Well, Brad with the gem.
I would like to put
Right and firm.
Brad Angelo's 299 he shot at Bill Moore's place last year, side by side with this, because I think his hesitation step was more pronounced last year than it is now. It's like he changed something. Re-rack.
All right, you get 2 a game. This is the first one for him.
Well, he did, is it because the rack's bad, or is he really trying to slow down the pace?
Yes.
Yes, on both.
I think this is more of a timeout reset re-rack. Brad knows this is a big shot early in the match. He needs this hit. He can't let Lennie get away and running after shooting 250. This was definitely, I need a timeout. I need to regroup and make a good shot here.
That ball just absolutely went left at about 38 feet.
Now you talk about tough spares, more ways to miss it than make it. This 3, 6, 9, 10 is definitely that. We actually saw, I forgot who it was now, but somebody this week picked a 310 off of this.
On this pattern, I think you could miss it with the reset button. I don't think there's any guarantees in picking up this pattern, this shot.
Looking at it. Yeah, got a little too far outside and just can't get the
I
nine.
thought he almost threw that in the gutter. That's going to be 6 out.
I think that's the snicker he's got. He's 3 was bonus on that one.
So he's tried being firm with it. He's tried moving left and hooking with it. So what about moving right and taking your hand out of it? How about doing that?
He just grabbed another ball. He grabbed the R1, the green R1.
Hybrid.
So it's a hybrid, and it's got a little bit of surface on it. I think he's going to try to throw that where he's throwing the gem on the left lane. He might go gem on right lane, this ball on left lane. I'm not sure what he's going to do just yet.
Lennie on that right lane has gotten farther right. And I'm just thinking that
he's still getting it to peel.
Yes. Well, he's using part of the lane that really nobody's played with so far.
Yeah, you also have to figure too, again, we had urethane go down a lane in practice, and we've had guys stand left of him, throw the ball to that break point. So he's got built-in hold that Brad doesn't have right now.
Yeah, in the first practice shots over here, Walter, in his minutes, he threw nothing but the pink hammer outside. So there could be a glimmer of a shim right there.
He's playing him a little bit different. Same result. 4-bagger after the open there in the first frame for Lennie Boresch. And Brad Angelo now into his 3rd ball of the game in frame number 5.
Yeah, and maybe he should have taken some practice shots. He chose not to see what's going to happen. But open, spare strike, open, 57 in the 4th isn't a way that I'd want to be scoring right now, at least at the pace with Bull and Lennie Boresch. New ball going down the lane. 10 pin.
Now what?
Spare.
You make the spare and you move on. I mean, that was a pretty good shot. The ball just quit. I think right now, I don't think that Tom and Brad thought the lane was going to break down the way it's breaking down. They thought the guys were going to get left to be able to create angle, and actually it looks like you can move right and use hold, and that's going to benefit Lennie and Walter.
And he just missed a 10 pin, so now we got 66 in the 5th, and this is becoming a no-brainer real quick. So
We didn't see that coming at all.
No. I guess from my standpoint back here, and he keeps moving left, trying to bounce it, and he struck that, but Lennie's going so much straighter through the front part of the lane and having success, and everybody else is crossing the front part of the lane at an angle. You know, Walter is probably going to come in and do the same thing Lennie's doing. It just depends on if the angle entry is right, because Walter might even be farther right than Lennie once he starts.
I think you can bet a lot of money that Walter's going to be right of Lennie at the laydown point. It's just going to be a matter if he can get the ball through the pins correctly. Lennie obviously has figured out how to get the ball to go through the pins.
You know why, right?
Voodoo roll.
Voodoo roll. There you go.
Okay, guys, so now interesting. When the other matches were going on, Walter was down here throwing a stealth and a quantum evo, and now he's got the pink hammer going down the lane.
Yep.
You watched a little bit, and you changing your game plan, or?
Well, I went over to practice the 4 shots, and I thought, well, I'll try to play a little bit where Lennie was playing, and I didn't look so great. It was okay with the Evo Pearl, but the stealth didn't, like I said, I got it right on the right lane, and it didn't hook back, and I moved a little bit right on the left lane and hooked all over the place. So my choice is either go a little straighter, stay away from where they're playing, or hook it more. And I don't know if hooking more is going to work out for me.
So does hook it more mean 2 hands?
His thumb's going to be in the ball. He won't be doing it two-handed, I believe, today.
No, I don't think so. If there was another 18 games on him, maybe.
All right, guys. Well, Walter looks like he's going to throw a few shots, and he'll get his practice shots on the pair, and he'll make this decision if straighter is greater or if he wants to create a little angle.
Well, I agree with what, when we both said it. He's going to be, I think, right of Lennie and try to use that. And I don't know if he's got that pink hammer. I don't know if he's got a purple, and if he does, that might not be a bad choice either, But right now, it's kind of like the urethane match.
So the purple is just going to get a little bit farther down lane before it tips?
Yeah, it's not. The purple is a symmetrical urethane ball, where the pink is asymmetrical. It's going to want to pick up a little bit sooner. But the only thing I worry about picking up sooner, it's flatter on the back side. That's when he threw that big ball, that stealth, and it's dull. And he said it didn't do anything. I think it just burned up so bad, the ball couldn't do anything. So I think less is more right now.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the big cores are definitely slowing down too much. Symmetrical ball is going to give you a little bit more retention and a little more continuation through the pins. Walter is pretty good at manipulating his hand and ball speed, so he might be able to trick it. But if he's definitely have to be right at Lennie if he wants to win.
Well, actually, both matches that we watched, Walter, he was really right and firing it hard. He has the ability to throw it hard. He was just throwing it hard, that pink hammer, outside, keeping it on line. Kind of like what you can do, is real firm outside and basically kind of overpowering the lane a little bit and just kind of taking some of that stuff out of play.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, he's not going to beat Lennie standing left of Lennie. He's going to have to be right of Lennie and using that ball speed and closing the lane down and getting the 10 pin to fall. He does that, he could win.
Well, anybody so far that's been left of Lennie hasn't worked out too well.
Max score now, Brad Angelo, 196. And Lennie's pacing 2 teens, 220s. 230s.
230. Yeah, 250 if he keeps going.
Yeah, 258 possible.
Hey, this match is realistically over right now. He doesn't even have to mark. Just hit some pins.
Well, we've seen Parker Bowen with 2 wins this year, not back-to-back. Lennie's going to have a chance to go back-to-back and do the Texas two-step, a win in Lubbock, potentially a win here in Odessa.
Oh, that ball didn't read at all.
He just missed it.
Yeah, he either got a little firm with that. It just didn't make the turn on the back end, leaving the wonderful 410 makeable.
You guys think maybe that was a test shot, knowing he had the game in the bag? Did he move a little bit?
Yeah, and he won his 196. He just has to stay behind the foul line. So
Yeah.
I think that might have been something a little bit different. Let me see what I got here. He didn't expect that result. You see the look on his face, and I was like, I thought that was okay.
Yeah, I don't think he did anything different. I think he just maybe got a little amped and he just didn't read, or maybe he missed it at the bottom. It's hard to tell if Lennie missed it at the bottom because you never see him really hit it. So.
Right, yeah. He missed it. Got 6.5 reps.
Well, Brad Angelo makes 4 shows. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the ending that he wanted. He's going to be finishing up in 3rd spot. Lennie Boresch is going to go on to meet Walter Ray Williams.
Yeah, Jerry Johns makes a good comment here. It'd be interesting to hear Brad's kind of recap of what was going on out there. But when you're in 3 balls in the 5th frame, there's not a heck of a lot you can do at that point.
Maybe on hindsight, he should have come over and practiced, and what he thought he seen wasn't what really happened.
In defense to that, the reason why he didn't practice was he said that lanes were going to be different by the time he got there anyway, and he was using balls with surface, and he didn't want them to game shine and lane shine, so he was saving them for the actual match. That was the reason why he didn't.
No, he could resurface them before he starts, correct?
Yeah, he could have hit him with surface again, but I mean, on hindsight, was that a good idea, do you think?
We'll never know.
Hindsight, easily the answer to that is no. But he had his game plan. He had his reasons for doing it, and I agree with you. He could have obviously re-hit him again. But sometimes when you re-hit a ball, if you re-hit it and use it, or it's been sitting for a while, it might roll a little differently. And he had his reasons, and unfortunately for him, they didn't work out well this time.
Well, on the good side, you have a game plan. He stuck with it. Unfortunately, it just wasn't the right one.
Well, and Brad is one of those guys. He very rarely gets tricked out there. I mean, his knowledge level is well above average.
Oh, way above average far as
the other guys out here on tour. Not that the other guys don't know what they're doing, but Brad is a true student of the game.
Yeah.
And he does not get fooled very often. So I was really surprised to see, a 165 game and to have him struggle the way he did here in this semifinal match. But Lennie Boresch out of Kenosha, Wisconsin, is going to take on Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Skin to win, the guy with the voodoo roll. And I tell you, he's tough to beat. What did he shoot at the USBCs? Some crazy number?
Lot. I think the pins are still falling.
22-36 or something with a 170 game. And he had 7 opens. New info.
What'd you say, Brad?
I said somebody peed my thumb hole right before I went over there.
Oh, wow. Really?
Holy cow, it's like 20 degrees hotter sitting over there. Must have been from all the heat that Tom Hess gave off trying to knock the 7-pin out of the deck.
All right, Brad, I'll give you a minute to cool off, and then we'll talk about what really happened on that pair.
Wow. I heard that, and I went, did he just say that? He did. Title match coming up. Lennie Boresch, Walter Ray Williams. If Lennie wins this, he's in the race for Player of the Year because Parker's got 2 titles, and he'll have 2 titles.
Well, how many points do you get for a win? Is it 7,500?
Oh, I think you get more than that, don't you?
I'm not sure.
Maybe not. I don't know.
The other thing you need to
consider, I never have to worry about that.
Is both players have won a major. So if Lennie were to win this, they both won 1 major and they both won 1 non-major. So they should be pretty equal in points.
Oh, in points right now, Parker's at 19,905 in first, and Lennie is in 6th at 13,540.
So 7,500 puts him ahead of Parker.
Yeah, I don't
by
remember
a
if
few.
it's 5,000 or 7. This is a standard event. It was double points last week. But Lennie made that big jump. And here's Walter with his practice shots.
Pink hammer. Did you see pink? I seen pink.
Pink Widow.
Yeah, I asked him about the purple hammer. He said he thinks it's pretty much the same as the pink, which I don't necessarily agree with, but he's got 47 titles. Who am I to argue with him?
So we've got a poll up here for our fans out there. Sorry there, Mike. Who do you got to win the 2022 PBA50 Odessa Open? Walter Ray Williams Jr. or Lennie Boresch? Make your pick in the poll and see who our fans have. Michael, who do you have?
I think it's hard-pressed to go against Lennie. He's got a great look. He knows what the lanes are doing. However, when you bowl against somebody that has won 47 times on the tour and 15 times here, it's hard to go against him. I mean, I think you could flip a coin right now. I need to watch a few more shots. If Walter's pink ball keeps ring-tenning, he's in trouble. I don't think he can beat him with a resin ball.
Tom, who do you got?
Who do I have? Ooh, I'm going with what Mike said. I would like to see him throw a purple because I think that pink's going to burn up on the right lane. And if that's the case, Lennie has got this match in hand.
So I'm hearing two guys leaning towards Lennie. I'll put our vote for the booth in as Lennie Boresch.
Oh, look at Mike Flanagan going, Walter Ray. But Walter's got tricks. I mean, you can't count him out. I've seen Walter move so far right, throw it over the right gutter onto the lane, and then if he has to get farther right to catch more, he will.
Well, the nice thing about this is we can all make our picks and take our guesses. And right now, Walter Ray, with 2 minutes to go, leading the poll, 56 to 44%.
Okay. Mike's got Walter at 250 plus.
Under. We haven't seen that score.
We haven't seen that score.
I don't see that score coming now.
You don't see that score on this pair?
There it is, Walter Ray Williams Jr., so, you know.
Well, look at him, 250.
Under.
I'm going with 235.
I like your pick, Tom. I think there's just too many ring tens and half tens on the pair right now that I don't see anything above 230 winning this match.
A couple more shots for Walter, and we'll get this championship match going here at Diamond Lanes in Odessa.
I think that I'm going to go make a talk. I'll be right back.
Okay, guys, I got Brad Angelo here. Obviously, he had a nice little comment there walking off the approach. He's had a few minutes to laugh and think about it. I know Brad very well. He's sure he's upset he lost. He'll take this very well. But what happened? And 3 balls through 5 frames. What was going on there?
I never got out of the gate. I was using that gem all week, and I guess I knew Dan was throwing urethane, and he got that full game plus all the practice with urethane, so they were a little tighter in the middle than I was expecting. And then Lennie's laydown was a little to the left of where I wanted to play, and so I ran into a little bit of that. And listen, I'm just trying to come up with the right excuse here for poor bowling. I think I made a bad choice with that X2. I tried to start with the X2. I don't know what happened on the last shot of practice, but it struck and it looked perfect. But in my back of my mind, I didn't think that was the right ball. And so probably if I had to do it over again, I would have just moved to the right and just did the rifle like I did there in the 10th, and then, just try to attack him that way. But Lennie bowled great. I mean, I felt like I had to really get lined up to strike because I knew he was lined up. So more power to him. He's bowling great.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when you walk into a pair and the guy just shot 250. You know he's got a good look, and like you said, your look may not be great. And okay, what do I do to try to slow him down, or what do I do to try to beat him? And you threw the last shot and you got fooled. You went with it, and it turned out it wasn't the right deal. And I mean, no one can blame you for that.
No, that's the way it goes sometimes. I mean, it's more, honestly, it's a little more embarrassing when you can't even get out of the gate and you're down by 50 before you even feel like you tied your shoes. And I was a little caught off guard by how much hotter it is. I know some pockets of the bowling center it's a little warmer than others, but man, it was really hot over there, and I couldn't get my thumb to dry out. And geez, do I put another piece of tape in? Gosh, then I got the texture issue. So I had all kinds of things racing through my mind, and I didn't do my job and slow my mind down enough and really get committed to what I wanted to do. And I was all over the place. I think I used 5 or 6 balls. So I might have set a record there.
Well, I mean, we've all been there. The games go by quick,
Yeah.
and we can always could have, would have, should have. But man, great bowling this year so far.
Yeah,
you made
thank
a ton
you.
of shows, and I mean, you took that little break off, like you said last week, recharged, and made the show. So what's next for Brad Angelo?
Well, I decided I'm going to bowl in Colorado next week, so we're heading over there tomorrow, and There's a regional in between. I'm signed up for the regional as of right now. We'll see how I feel after the long drive and fly home hopefully in time for the 4th of July.
All right, buddy. Well, best of luck to you, and it's always
Thanks,
great bowling.
Michael. Thanks, buddy.
Always good to hear the honest synopsis of what happened out there. And like you said, he was second guessing himself, and he had just too much stuff going on in the head to think about the thumb, more tape, less tape, which ball, which line. And when you got that much stuff going on in your head, your chances go down.
It's tough, Craig. I mean, we're all bowlers, we know. And it didn't help that his partner, his opponent was locked in. I mean, Lennie was bowling great. Lennie has a good look. You knew you were going to have to bowl probably 220 or 230 to beat him. You weren't sure how to get it done, and then, like you said, you factor in everything else, and, boy, you blink your eye, and it's in the 7th frame, and you're like, well, I'm already packing the car and going home now. So great week for him. He'll be back for sure. He's throwing it great, and we'll see if Lennie can do the two-step repeat.
Lennie Boresch, the 16 seed through qualifying, taking on Walter Ray Williams Jr., the winningest player in PBA Tour history, and the number 2 seed coming in to the match play here today. And you see Tom Carter down there working with Walter, trying a couple different things. Let's see what they come up with here. Is Walter going to start? Is he going to let Lennie start? We're about to find out.
PBA50 Odessa Open, the great one on board. He's won more championships on both tours than anyone. He's won 47 times on the PBA Tour, 15 championships on the PBA50 Tour, and leads both tours in wins. He's a 7-time PBA Tour Player of the Year. He's been Player of the Year out here multiple times on the PBA50 Tour. He is a PBA and USBC Hall of Famer, 2 Hall of Famers going at it in this championship match. Let's give him a nice send-off to start him up. Guys, good luck.
So Walter Ray Williams Jr. has the most wins on a regular tour, the senior tour, and also doesn't have the most horseshoe titles, world horseshoe titles with 7. So he just sets records everywhere he goes.
Maybe he does. I don't know how many horseshoe records he's got, but he's got a bunch. But he's got 120 plus titles, counting regionals and everything out here.
And Lennie going to start the match again. Can he go for 2 for 2 in Texas? Well, so far,
Well, he's got a good start.
it looks that way. And our poll gave Walter the slight edge from our viewers on who they picked. It was a 55-45, I believe, or pretty close. So kind of a split decision there.
Well, the right lane is hooking a lot, and I thought Walter really needed to maybe move farther right and just kind of use his speed to his advantage and try to take that hook out of the play.
He didn't want to do that?
Well, he didn't seem too happy about that, so he did move farther right, it looks like. And that almost 7-10'd.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing right there, Tom. I mean, he's going to be able to get further right. That right lane being tight, is it going to hook early, or is he going to see the hang? And if he sees the hang and he 10 pins, he's not beating Lennie. He's got to figure out how to get that ball to pick up a little sooner and go through the pins.
Well, he thinks the right lane hooks more. So, because when he moved left, the ball went right through the face, and then he used a pearl ball and went farther left. So, I shouldn't say this, but assuming he never misses any spares, Walter's got to figure out a way to strike. I mean, because Lennie has kind of got the right lane figured out, and Walter's got to figure out the right lane quickly.
Yeah, an all-spire game is not going to take the trophy home.
No, I mean, Lennie's got a 220-plus ball reaction right now. Walter can obviously get to the 1-3, but if he finds a way to carry that 10-pin, he might be able to get Lennie to squeeze it. But if he doesn't, like you said, 190, 2-0, not enough.
Well, Lennie Boresch, 248, 258, 216, his 3 games so far as he's working his way through this step ladder.
Well, that just says that the lanes are changing. Walter playing, that hit like 5-6 at the arrows, and I really thought Walter would be farther right than that. I've seen him play farther right than that.
He needs to be further right than that with a little more ball speed if he wants to beat Lennie. I mean, he's a great player. We might see him move right through the match, but if he doesn't, he's going to be in trouble.
Well, and you saw that ball go through the pins. That ball just deflected and, got way too much of the 9 pins that went off the back of the deck. We'll look at the rest of our top 5 in the senior tour points through the last event. Parker Bowlen the third and first. Dino Castillo second. Brad Angelo third. Chris Barnes fourth. Tom Hess fifth. And 4 of those 5 made the final 8. There's Lennie Boresch in sixth. Parker did not bowl this week as he was home for a high school graduation. So the players that are bowling good all year made it to pretty deep here in this event.
Oh, 10 pin, almost 7-10 for Lennie. So if that right lane gives him some trouble, Walter's got a chance. Now it's going to be a slugfest. I figure the key is going to be who can double on that lane.
Yeah, now on that shot, I didn't see where it was at release point. Was he further right down the lane than he has been?
It looked like it from my angle here. It looked like it.
Okay, so I wonder if he's trying to shape it more due to the fact that Walter's going to be throwing the urethane there to get around that spot.
And Lennie has to finish on that right lane.
Hasn't everybody made Lennie finish on the right lane today, and he's still winning?
He has, but now the lane, I think the lane's getting a little squirrelier.
Well, the first game Lennie started, he had the choice, and he chose to finish on the right lane. After that, I don't know if that's just the way it worked out, but definitely the key to this match is the right lane.
Well, you could hear a pin drop in here. Lennie wants to hear 10 pins drop right now, and he did.
Lennie's tempo, after watching him over the years and doing the commentary, his tempo, foot tempo to the line, his rhythm, never, ever changes. He is, you know, you see people get fast and fall off and do all kinds of things. You know, Lennie never changes.
Yeah, it's got good cadence.
Walter changes balls, moves, I think, to a reactive
okay, Mr. Ball Rep, what are you thinking about that? Where did that come from?
I'm
You need to go down and have a talk with him?
I'm stuttering. That's what I'm doing. I didn't see that coming either.
He didn't come back and ask.
No, he moved right, went to a reactive, and threw it firmer, and it never read the lane.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it was the 2 half 10 pins he left the first 2 frames. The move right was correct. I think he should have done it with the pink ball, not this ball.
Spare, safe.
He wasn't so sure about that one.
Spares on this pattern were optional.
So, Tom, knowing Walter the way you do, and he moved right with the reactive ball in that lane and left 2-4-5, do you think he just moves further right with that ball, or do you think he goes back to the pink ball?
I would think
he's going to throw it again.
He's definitely throwing it again.
Well, he sees something different. That's why he's got titles. He thinks different than we do. But I don't think that's the right way to go. In my mind, it's got to be farther right. I mean, he's kind of in the same zone. He went farther right with that, but he's throwing it harder with a stronger ball. And he fired that one down there.
So, kind of going on what you just said there, you thinking stealth now if he's going to do that?
Oh, no,
not that much?
No. Oh, my God, no.
You don't want that much? Okay.
I think that would burn up too quick. I mean, if he's throwing an asymmetrical pearl ball now and it's not finishing, going to a symmetrical super dull ball, I don't think is the right choice either. I'm still going to stand by my guns. I think Walter should move farther right and do the Michael Huggan and just label it to the pocket.
Yeah, the pink ball further right, keeping it on the line is probably the best choice. And he may get this opportunity
here.
Pocket
410.
That wasn't very nice.
Now, not that I'm a great bowler or anything, I'm not terrible, but on 9 and 10, I had a double and I went on lane 9, and I thought I threw it good, and the ball looked like it hit the pocket. Jack Jury said it hit the pocket, and I had the bucket with a 10 pin.
Well, you got half of them anyway.
Oh, well, yeah. I was shocked.
And a 5-pin match just like that. Back-to-back opens on splits for both players. A 7-10 for Walter, a 4-10 for Lennie.
Well, Lennie's definitely not shutting the door. at this point. I'm still liking my 230, Michael.
Yeah, I'm not liking 250s anymore. Never did, but definitely not right now.
Guys, I think 2-10 is going to win this game at this point.
He didn't like it.
Well, he didn't like that at all, but it held. I think he got that left, and it just held.
Yeah, you want to look at Walter. He's definitely not happy with that. He's like, I got away with one.
Well,
there.
it didn't go Brooklyn. I mean, so at least it hit the pockets. You're human. People make mistakes.
Staying with the Evo. Probably move a little more right and a little more ball speed, Tom.
He's sticking with it. He went farther right.
Yep. And kicks
Farther right.
4-7 out.
Farther right's the key.
He's still shaking his head though. But I'm with you, Tom. I think, and Michael, farther right with that the Pink Widow.
Well, the key will be if he can pinch a little more right with this Quantum Evo and it doesn't go high.
Well, he's definitely going to throw it firmer, to keep it from going high.
Absolutely, and that'll be the key. If he can pinch his feet just a touch more to the right, and get that ball to pick up and not go high, he has a chance.
And this scoring pace right here is why we said the scoring pace in this tournament was low, because on the fresh, you've seen guys come out with big games. There you go. As the lanes transitioned, they got into this kind of scoring pace here, where guys were shooting 190s and 2-0s, and it just brought the scoring pace down.
Well, clearly, Walter right there showed you why he's won more times than anybody in the history of the game. Looked lost for the first 3 or 4 frames, no carry. All of a sudden, he's got a double.
Yeah.
And for the first time in a long time, Lennie's in trouble early.
Well, he was lost in 8 balls in practice.
Strike to hang on to a 5-pin lead.
7-10. See, there's
4-10,
that
7-10.
That zone right there is totally burned up, and I'm surprised Lennie, after he's seen Walter go right, he didn't go right. It's kind of like follow the leader, the guy that's striking on the right lane. And Lennie gives away 2 pins by missing one of those. He was on a strike, so he's got 94 in the 6th. Possible 214. .243 for Walter if he goes off the sheet. But I wouldn't count anybody going off the sheet on that right lane.
No, we don't see that happening, obviously. And Lennie just wants a little bit of time now. It looks like the head pin might have been over just a touch, but this is more just regroup, get your head on straight, figure out what to do. Is he going to make a ball change, a line change? He's sticking with the same ball. He struck every time on this lane, 3 for 3. It's the right lane that's giving him fits. And he's hit the pocket both times on the right lane, but 4-10 and 7-10.
Yeah, that pocket 4-10.
Price.
You got to wonder where the ball went when that happens. Messenger.
Can you roll it?
That is amazing. Those messengers all week long did just that. They come across the lane, look like plenty fast enough, but they stop.
A little stick 'em on him or something.
Exactly. It's like
a little pine tar.
There's fly paper down there, and the pin just stops.
Yeah, I think part of that's due to the fact that bowling on 34 feet and there's a little friction on the lane, the ball's rolling out. Doesn't have quite the impact to get that pin all the way over, but man, he sure could have used one there.
Yeah, max score for Lennie now, 204.
Yeah, Walter's pacing it, looks like 2-10. Actually, no, he's placing at 190 right now, so Walter needs to get another hit here to get to 2-0, but I can't see Walter giving this up now.
That was much more authority on that one in flat 10s.
Yeah, he thought that was there in flat 10, but at least he labeled the pocket. He's got the lead, but only by 12.
Well, there was no chance that ball was going high. That
Oh,
was
no,
as firm as he's throwing it all day long.
Yeah, he threw that at like 17 mile an hour.
Well, there's 3 frames left. You can guarantee one thing: Walter's not going to miss the pocket. He is going to make Lennie come and double to beat him. And right now, Lennie hasn't shown he can do that with this right lane. So it's going to be an interesting finish here.
Yeah, Lennie's max is 204. Walter's pacing 202. So if he sneaks a double in here, he's going to force Lennie to do something to catch him. And that's a good strategy. Just jam him in there and at least leave something you're going to make. And trip a 2, roll a 4.
Well,
whatever, throw a double, and it's game over.
Walter strikes here. He only has one more shot on that right lane, and get off of that thing and finish it out in the 10th.
Yeah, that's the key. And Walter's better lane is his left lane, and obviously he's finishing on that lane. Big shot here.
That was huge. That was huge.
Still pacing 192, but can he strike on that right lane?
He may not need to.
It all depends on what happens to Lennie on this shot right here. If he doesn't strike, he's kind of in la la land, unfortunately. He's got to figure out his voodoo roll.
Well, 10 pin, 410, 710. The 3 shots for Lennie Boresch here on lane 20.
He got it a little right early, so give it a little more hook room. So Lennie got with a possible 204.
This ball starts going right here.
Yeah, he got it to the right, not as far down lane, so picked up some friction sooner, got higher in the pocket.
So do you think he did that to get around that hang spot?
Well, I'd like to think so.
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
But then again, if that was a mistake and he did it by accident, I hope he learned something from it. And we've all done that. Missed and went, maybe I should be playing there instead.
Yeah, sometimes your best adjustments are misses on the lane, and they work out for you in your favor and take advantage of it. And that one he just did not take advantage of.
No, he got that way right down lane, and it was like, real quick when I looked, it was like 1-2 down lane. Ball just never made the turn. He was hoping to trip the 2-pin forward.
Right?
Yeah, and that was his good lane. Well, he's pacing 174. Now that's max 184. Walter's just got to keep things in play and not do anything stupid.
Yeah, Walter can get up right here and just win the match and win the title right here in the 9th to 10th frame.
So, last shot on this lane, I don't know, pinch it a half board farther right, keep the speed up, and don't give up the pocket.
Yeah, strike here pretty well locks it up.
Definitely don't get slow.
100%. Move a board right, throw it harder, keep it in play. You're going to ring 10 or strike. And steady big fours.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Totally confused. It looked like he started that one up a little bit sooner because he said it went left off his hand. Right there, the ball took off. Right where Lennie's break point was on that shot to strike, that's where Walters took off.
So did he miss in on that shot?
Boy, not by much. It didn't look like on that replay. Yeah, not by much. Not big 4.
I think he's more confused than anything else because I think he thought that was in the right spot.
Well, there's one guy that has made this on TV, and it's that guy right there. So,
well, he's definitely got to get 2. So now we're looking at a whole different ball game.
yeah, 188 max score, Walter Ray Williams Jr. 184 Lennie Boresch. So,
now the good thing is this is his good lane, and he does have ball in hand. If he doubles, he wins. So,
well,
he struck the last 2 shots. The last one was kind of that little light mixer.
He's got a strike here. That's way right, and it struck. Oh, I thought that was farther right down lane. Oh my God! one more here to lock up the title. Otherwise, he puts ball in hand with Lennie, and he's got a chance to take it.
Yeah, see, that's why I asked you on the right lane if he missed in, because I think that's what he was trying to do. I think he was trying to get further right
And jam it
and jam it and start it up earlier, and I think he just missed in a little bit on that right lane.
For the title.
Strike here in 7.
For the title.
We have a winner. And
He didn't even like the shot, and he got away with it.
He was banging on that one.
Yeah, he threw it. It was like, oh my God, what happened?
Still needs count here, guys. It's not over yet. Still needs count. We know he can bucket real easy. We know he could 2-8-10, 2-4-8-10.
He's like,
so.
Is it going to be there? It was light. I mean, he got a mixer out of it.
7's a winner. Just right down the middle.
No. 9 is a
That's
winner.
enough.
Title
Walter
number
Ray Williams.
16 for Walter Ray Williams.
Great last 10 days for Lennie Boresch, though. Bowls for the title twice, wins the U.S. Open in Lubbock. And just old West Texas barn burner here against Walter Ray Williams Jr. in this match. And Walter looks, I'm not sure he can
Walter's
believe it.
kind of laughing at himself.
I don't even know how he did that.
Again, this is why the scoring pace was so low. Look what happened this game, and as well as things started out.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they're in qualifying. You'd move pairs, and you'd catch some pairs that guys use urethane on, and ball wouldn't finish. You move right, ball hook too soon. And in essence, that's kind of what happened on the show here. The urethane starting with the practice between Walter and Dan, and then Dan using it the whole first game and carrying some oil down. Tom burning up the front. That kind of did exactly happen. You saw early hook and you saw hang. Walter was just a little bit better at figuring it out than Lennie the last game.
Well, I'm sure nobody figured that this game was going to end in a 187-170 match for a title.
Walter Ray Williams Jr., our champion here at Diamond Lights and PBA50 Odessa Open. That's title number 16 for Walter Ray on the PBA50 Tour, adding to his lead as for the most wins on the PBA50 Tour. So congratulations to him. Before we give away all of the money on the hardware, I'd like to take the opportunity one more time to thank Harry Dieter, Joe Burns, John Burns. Thanks so much for everything. We appreciated all the hard work you guys did. It's been great here with the staff and the guys in the back. They did a great job. So we love it here in Odessa. We hope you come back. And Harry Dieter, why don't you come on out here and give away some money and congratulate the winner, Walter Ray Williams Jr. Do you want your money?
No. This is a great example of why bowling lives here. You get to see it all. You get to see great scores. You get to see things like this. I mean, this is incredible. I mean, this is why bowling is bowling. And, you know, the greats don't always shoot 200 or 300. This game is tough, and people that don't bowl out here really probably have a hard time believing that they can be this tough.
Offense or defense? That was defense.
Thank you again for coming out. I'd like to thank the PBA for sponsoring, coming out and having you all come out here. We're glad to have you. I want to thank my staff, my partner, John, his wife, Jo, who works her ever-loving heart out to keep all this thing running. The mechanics in the back, Jeff and Richard, and I think everybody liked Diane's cooking today, so.
We did. That was a good burger.
We'd like to present you with a check, $7,500, and the trophy.
Thank you. Wow. Well, I'd like to thank Diamond Lanes for hosting us. And considering the start I had this week, I was 69 under after 2 games. I was averaging 165. I almost thought I was going to shoot another 165 there. Pair got a little tricky on us. I was very fortunate. Lennie had a couple bad breaks, and wow, thanks for having the tournament. Thanks also to my sponsors, Brunswick, High Five, Dexter, Vice. Without all the sponsors, I probably wouldn't be bowling out here. So appreciate all you guys, and good luck out there. And I'll see you guys I don't know, in a month and a half, I guess. I'm not bowling next week. I'm going to go up to Maine and try to show the young kids how to throw a ball.
Well, one more round of applause for our staff and management and ownership here this week in Odessa. It's been a great week to be here. Walter, come on over here for a second. Let's talk a little more about that last match. You made it a little bit interesting with that big four.
Yeah.
What was up with that shot?
Well, I'd been going light. I wanted to get the ball a little higher in the pocket. I thought, well, all I got to do is, sneak a double in there, and I got the game won. And I only moved a half right with my feet and got it up the lane, and all of a sudden it just dead hooked. I'm like, well, that's kind of what it did in practice. So I was fortunate to make a couple decent shots, and they struck in the 10th frame. That was just tough. I guess all the oil carried down. They got a little weird, and I was very fortunate to win that match. Lennie bowled great all the way up into that match, but got a couple of really bad breaks that match, and just never can't tell what's going to happen.
Well, Walter, you have the most titles combined of any player in history, the most titles on the regular tour, the most on the senior tour, a lot of horseshoe titles to add to that as well. What's next for you? What else do you have left to prove?
Well, I love competing. I'm not quite as good as I used to be. I'm still pretty decent. It's nice to have weeks like this where you can throw some strikes. But obviously, the way I started, I wasn't real happy. I was ready to leave after about 2.5 games. So I'm glad I hung in there and things worked out a lot better. But it's just amazing how things like that happen, and I'm just fortunate to be where I'm at, and I'm going to be driving to Maine and doing a bunch of clinics on the way out there and appearances, and like I said, bowling the PBA League out there, and then bowl the PBA50 Regional in Delaware. I'm going to miss the tournament in Michigan. I'm going to try to play horseshoes. I'm going to enter the senior division, my first time ever at the senior division, so I'm going to see how that works, and then hopefully join the rest of the guys on the summer tour.
Right-handed or left-handed for horseshoes?
Surprisingly left-handed. It's my last 2 times I played a right-handed tournament was really like 2 of the worst tournaments I've ever had, and so I learned how to play left-handed a long time ago when I broke my finger and I broke my wrist later on, and for a long time it was never an issue, and then my right-handed average just kept coming down and coming down and coming down. I'm thinking, I think I could do this left-handed, so I started practicing left-handed all the time, and I actually did the best I've done the last 18 years left-handed at the World Tournament. So, but my game's not quite as good as it used to be, but I'm still decent, and hopefully I can give those senior horseshoe players a run for their money.
Well, a great showing here today. We see in that final game why you are the greatest of all time. The ball changes, the line changes. Any final thoughts today?
Well, hope you guys go out and bowl, enjoy yourself, have fun. That's the main thing. Sometimes we get a little serious out here bowling for a living, but main thing is to have a lot of fun.
Great words to live by. Congratulations again to Walter Ray Williams Jr., our winner here in Odessa.
Thanks to Flow Bowling also for putting all this on.
Oh, BowlTV. He meant well. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have a new record to be broken. Walter Ray Williams, 16 now senior titles. I think altogether he's got 124 titles. Just amazing performance. We said that he was going to move right. I think I even said he might move a half a board right and try to jam it. I think that's what he tried to do, and ended up with a big 4, but it still ended up an okay mix for him for the title for number 16. So he's going to give us a break next week, so he's not going to be there. So there's an extra check for somebody.
Yeah, there was no big round of applause for that. I'm not coming next week. I was surprised that people were saying thank you for giving us a chance. But he's proven why he's the GOAT, right? I mean, he did some things in that match that you didn't expect, we didn't expect, and he found a way to get it done.
Well, in the title at the end, it said he needed, and Mike and I had said he needed to move right and kind of jam it. And I think he tried that, except for he hit that hook spot and the ball just took off way too hard on it.
Yeah, and that big 4 was a turning point in that match, but he got up in the 10th and just threw back-to-back quality shots, and he's our winner again. And great week for Lennie. A few pins shy of the Texas 2-step.
Right.
but he's not going to leave Texas disappointed.
No, he's having a great season, and we have 7 tournaments in the Midwest plus a couple regionals. There's a lot more bowling to come, and you're going to see these guys on the show way more. I mean, all the guys that you've seen today, you're going to see again in the next couple of weeks.
No doubt. So we're just right about the halfway point of the 2022 PBA50 season, and we're going to head north, Greeley, Colorado.
To Greeley, Colorado.
Friday, July 1st, 9 a.m., the Highland Park Open up in Greeley, Colorado.
Then after that, we get a 2-week break, and we start out at Michigan, next to Detroit.
Yeah, for the final major of the year up in Westland. So with that, I think we'll all be looking forward to that break when it comes in what, about 6-7 days from now, but one more tournament in Greeley before we get to that point. So, Tom, again, thank you.
Thanks
Michael
for having me. I enjoy
thank
it.
you. And, of course, thanks to the USBC.
Mike in the truck.
And Mike in the truck did a great job cutting the show there. The board of directors, USBC board of directors, our BPAA, of course, and it is without those guys, it's their support why we're here. And, of course, all the fans out there, thank you for watching. The interaction in the chat is great. Hopefully, get away a few more T-shirts. Everybody's happy here this afternoon. We've got a lot more giveaways yet to go. The staff, John Weber, I almost said John Carter. John Weber, Linda
Virginia.
Carter. Just, always running a great ship here, keeping things moving along. The staff here in Odessa has been fantastic. Always taking great care of us. We appreciate them upgrading their internet for us so we can have this great stream coming out. Guys in the truck, player services, all that good stuff. And, of course, Mike Flanagan, Brian Kane will be back with us in Greeley. And you again, Tom Carter, thanks for sitting in.
I enjoy it. I look forward to seeing you guys in Greeley. 12 hours away. We take off first thing in the morning.
And remember, on BowlTV,
bowling lives here
all the time.